This is the Sunday stream opening song because the other song is copyrighted. La 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 la. Oh look, here comes Dog Cat Fox.
Hi, Sky.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday stream. The stream I do on Sundays because Sunday is the day to stream on Sundays. Hope you're all doing well on this really cold Sunday morning. But I hope you're all warm where you are, or getting warm as it is. And thank you so much for joining me for this special Sunday stream. Why is it special? Well, because it's Schadenfreude Sunday. If I have to put a title on it, there you go. It's Schadenfreude Sunday. What am I talking about? Well, I'll get to that momentarily. But first, who's joining me on this chilly Sunday morning? Noah Asensio, good morning. Mike R., good morning. Kiro Soldier, thank you so much. Appreciate the donation. Have a great stream, Scribe. I'll catch it later. Well, it'll be here for you when you're ready. Thank you so much. Hope you have a good Sunday, Kiro. Mike Savage, Blarg. JB, good morning. Froggy, good morning. Who else is here? Advocatus Diaboli, good morning. And thank you, Advocatus, for reposting the GoFundMes. Yes, I can put the GoFundMes into a chat message in the chat box. I cannot pin my own messages into the chat box anymore. For some reason, either because I'm just special or YouTube is having some kind of error, I can't pin my own message. I can pin other people's messages. So Advocatus, thank you so much for helping me to post the GoFundMes. I'll get to those momentarily as well. Rabbit, good morning. Derek LaRue, thank you again, as always, so much for your support and generosity. Really do appreciate it. Hope you're having a good Sunday, and I hope you enjoy the show. Thank you so much again. Let's see. Did I already say hi to Mike R? Well, Mike R, good morning, if I didn't already. Who else is here? TC, good morning. And then jumping down the chat a bit, Robert Gruber, good morning. Tall Person, good morning. TC LaChance, good morning. You have competition in the other TC. You guys will have to fight it out with sticks or something. Bridget, good morning. John Trioxin, good morning. And let's see who else. Tier Alexander, the Gentleman Lich, good morning. Dina B, good morning. Simon Willikins, good morning. Urcule Di Stefano, good morning. Anybody else? Holy cow. Oh, Kenny on Catpiss, good morning. Shadowclaw, good morning. And Nathaniel Rotskull, good morning to you. Good morning to you. And anybody that I might have missed, anybody who's lurking, anybody in the future, good morning to you. All right, so what are we doing here today? Well, there was a thing that happened, as you can see on the screen there. A news story broke on January 12th of 2024. Citi to cut 20,000 jobs as bank posts worst fourth quarter loss in 15 years. Wowie, 20,000 jobs. That's a lot of jobs. Now, why would they be doing that? Well, we're going to find out reading the story here. And what did I do with... I made a screenshot, dang it, and now it's gone. Or I saved it in the wrong spot. Oh, well. Well, see, here's the thing. And before I get to that, sorry, apologies. Alan Thyler. Thank you so much, Alan. It's very generous of you with the trophy waving samurai dog cat fox. Oh, dog cat fox.
Wowie, wow.
That is a particularly terse ranting monkey dog cat fox. Thank you so much, Alan. Appreciate it. That's very generous of you. Hope you're having a good Sunday. So even though I would love to show you the screenshot I made, I apparently misplaced it. Either way, back in 2018, I did a video on a promotional video from Citi. Okay, so we're talking now, let's see, 6 years ago. Holy cow. So 6 years ago, Citibank posted a video talking about their diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, specifically about how they wanted to be the employer of choice for Black people, or Black folks, as I think it might have been said. I think I might have found my little screenshot for reference here. 1 second. I saw it just a second ago. And now it has, how did I manage this? Okay, I'm having some bizarre technical difficulties here because I see the screenshot on my desktop and somehow I'm not seeing it in my ability to load it up onto StreamYard. Uh, okay, let's try. How about overlay? Do I have an overlay? How about this? Can I do this? Yes, I can. Okay, so here. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It happens. It's Sunday. This is live television. So, just as a reference point, and I put a link to this video in the description. Here's a screenshot from my video from 2018 called An Awfully City Way of Thinking, where our three speakers went over in about 3 minutes, which took me 9 minutes to relay, about how their advocacy and their allyship and their focus was on hiring people on the basis of their skin color. And at the time, I said things like, golly, I wonder how legal that is. Golly, I wonder how this is going to work out for you in the long run. I wonder if, people are going to want to stick around or what kind of quality output you're going to get if you set that as the standard for your employment. Now, I have to predicate everything from this point forward by saying I cannot say with any certainty that DEI initiatives within Citi has led to this outcome. I don't know that for a fact. Correlation does not equal causation. However, as a company that has, at least since 2018, pushed a demonstrably racist and discriminatory hiring scheme amongst themselves, I will say that I am laughing my ass off on the inside that this is the result that happens to such companies. I mean, it's possible that DEI had something to do with this. I can't say for sure. But what we're going to do today is we're going to look at the article talking about the results of Citi's efforts over the last, 15 years. And then we're going to take a look at a series of short promotional corporate videos that Citi has put out over the last 3 or 4 years, just to see what kind of thinking was going on and running the asylum over there, at least since 2018, up until now. But let's get to the article. A couple more hellos here before I proceed, so I don't leave anybody out that I can not to. Let's see. Meh, your ass on the inside. I'm laughing my ass off on the inside. Okay. All right. It was an awkward phrasing. Awkward phrasing. What do you want from me? I'm an English major who's up at a cold Sunday morning. What do you want? Did I already say good morning to JB? JB, good morning. SWD40, good morning. And Genti Maxi from the, I'm sure Genti Maxi would find the weather down in the contiguous 48 states down here. She'd laugh it off because she is of tough Canadian stock, I think. Also, Ryan R., good morning. Brittany Holland, good morning. Non-Vitae Rex, good morning. All right, so let's start off with the article of what's going on now, and then we'll go over our retrospective of promotional videos from Citi. Citi to cut 20,000 jobs as bank posts worst fourth quarter loss in 15 years. This comes to us from the New York Post, January 12th of 2024. Citi Group plans to slash 20,000 jobs over the next 2 years after the struggling bank reported its worst fourth quarter earnings in 15 years Friday. CEO Jane Fraser, I almost said Jane Foster, and I thought, where's Thor? Who announced a sweeping overhaul last November to consolidate departments, seeks to bring the New York-based bank's global headcount down to 180,000 people. Citi currently has 239,000 employees worldwide. Down to 180,000. That means you're slashing 40 and then another, that's 60,000. What? So is 20,000 just the first phase? There's 60,000 oncoming overall? Oh my gosh. Okay. Citi currently has 239,000 employees worldwide, its chief financial officer, Mark Mason, said after the bank reported a $1.8 billion loss for the fourth quarter. Aside from the 20,000 job cuts, the bank expects to reduce its headcount a further 40,000 jobs when it spins off and lists its Mexican consumer unit, Banamex, in an initial public offering next year. I see. A representative for Citi confirmed the 20,000 staffer reduction, quote, in the medium term, unquote, to the Post. The bank, headquartered on Greenwich Street in Tribeca, employs roughly 10,000 workers in New York City. When asked if the cuts would disproportionately impact jobs in New York, the rep declined comment. The Wall Street firm is expecting to incur between $700 million and $1 billion in expenses tied to the impending severance payments. Job cuts are, quote, tough on morale, unquote, Mason said, adding that the reorganization efforts will be done by the end of the first quarter. Citi shares closed up 1% on Friday, but were down about 3% this week. The bank's revenue in the fourth quarter fell 3% to $17.4 billion from a year earlier. Revenue from markets, or the trading division, dropped 19% to $3.4 billion from the year-ago period. The figure was dragged lower by a 25% plunge in fixed income revenue, which included some losses from Argentina. In contrast, Citi's banking revenue climbed 22% to $949 million, led by higher investment banking fees that offset a slide in corporate lending. In U.S. personal banking, revenue climbed 12% to $4.9 billion, lifted by retail banking and credit cards. Service revenue grew 6% to $4.5 billion, and wealth management revenues fell 3% to $1.7 billion. And all of this means absolutely nothing to me because I'm an English major and math is icky poo yucky. The bank also set aside a bigger reserve to cover losses if its clients are unable to pay off their credit cards, mortgages, or business loans. Quote, Citi Group's earnings looked awful with a big loss of $1.8 billion, but the bank's underlying business showed resilience, unquote, said Octavio Marenzi, CEO at management consultancy firm Optimus Prime. I don't know. Yeah, cutting 20,000 jobs, losing $1.8 billion. Here's the thing. I don't think they have the graph in this article, but I saw a graph from, I think it was Yahoo News, which showed Citi's fortunes over the last 20 some odd years or so. And here's the thing. In 2007, 2008, like everybody, its numbers dropped to the floor, right? Because of the financial crisis. Like, okay, that's fine. They never really recovered, even though eventually things started climbing back between 2008 and say 2019 for a lot of people because, the economy recovered over time. Citi didn't. It just pretty much stayed steady near the floor all the way through. It had a little tick up at one point, but then it went all the way back down again. So, Fraser called the fourth quarter results very disappointing. Sorry, I missed a paragraph here. It was the first time the bank broke out earnings for its 5 businesses, services, markets, banking, U.S. personal banking, and wealth, which were previously housed under broader divisions. I guess they couldn't hide it forever. Quote, given how far we are down the path of our simplification and divestitures, 2024 will be a turning point, she said. Oh, yeah, it will. Fraser's reorganization plan will reduce management layers from 13 to 8 as part of its biggest overhaul in decades. Oh, cutting middle management, huh? I wonder what standards may have been in place that set up a whole bunch of managers and management over the last several years. Oh, we'll get to that momentarily. Don't worry about that. She said the aim is to reduce bureaucracy, and increase profits while boosting the company's stock, which lags its peers. Reduce bureaucracy and increase profits. Rivals J.P. Morgan Chase and Bank of America also reported fourth quarter earnings on Friday, and they all saw lower quarterly profits after being weighed down by similar FDIC assessments. I might have to look and see if I can find any old videos from J.P. Morgan and Bank of America on their diversity efforts over the years. However, J.P. Morgan posted a record annual profit of $49.6 billion, the highest in American banking, which it attributed to an impressive 31% improvement from its bottom line in 2022, blowing past economist expectations. There's nothing suspicious about that at all. I don't know. It's just like, well, if everybody was thinking like, it's going to be kind of a dull year for banking, $49.6 billion profit. Okay. I hope it's all above board, as they say. Bank of America said income. How about said its income fell 56% to 3.14 billion in the fourth quarter, double the 28% drop analysts had anticipated. Wow, I guess JP Morgan Chase just has the secret recipe for amazing profits or something. Wells Fargo, meanwhile, outperformed on cost cuts. It reported a 2% increase from the same period last year to $20.48 billion. All right, so there you go. Citi is having a Citi fourth quarter, I'll say tentatively. Yeah, but so there's the current situations. The question is, what kind of philosophy has been running Citi management over the last several years? Well, I had an indication back in 2018 with the video I did. Again, I should put I believe I put the link to that in the description if you want to see that. It's only about 9 minutes long, just goes over some things, but it was one of my earliest efforts at looking at D.E.I. I've been looking at D.E.I. stuff basically since my channel began. And as I've said in the last several streams, it is bizarre. It is bizarre now to see all these other news channels and commentary channels and everything glomming on to dissing on DEI as though it were some new revelation or something. Like, did you know that DEI does this or DEI does that? And I'm sitting here going like, hello, I've been here a while. A lot of us have been here a while, but apparently only now is it safe in the mainstream to say something, I guess. Also, good morning to Fostonia. And Grisella, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Hope everything is going all right. And just as a note, before I forget, at the top of the chat box, we have our GoFundMe's for Twisted Skipster, James Colley, Angry Illinoisian, and Grisella. All of them in their own situations have experienced a hardship of some kind or another in the last several months. If you can donate to those, please do so. If you can't, that is fine. But if you can share those out on social media, that would be appreciated. So thank you so much ahead of time for that. Also, good morning, Sextus Megorian, guardian of old Phyrexia. I think I've got that down now. Do I have that down now? I hope so. Oh, thank you, JB, very much. Fun fact, 1 million seconds is about 11 days. 1 billion is 32 years. It shows the difference between a million and a billion fairly well, in my opinion. Yes. These days, millions and billions of dollars are thrown around as terms very easily, almost in a throwaway fashion. There's no big deal. Oh, we spent, $8 billion on something. It's a line item, whatever. This is lots and 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 lots of money we're talking about. Lots of money, lots of people's money. So yeah, when somebody says I posted a $49.5 billion profit last year, like, where did all that come from? It's not a small thing. But anyway, so now we're going to go back in time. We're going to go back in time to August of 2021, if I can make this work. Hopefully I can make this work. Let's find out. So I need to present and to stop sharing this screen. I need to present this screen here. Yes, there we go. And then we're going to sort of go classic scribe light setup here just to make life easier for everybody on this Sunday show. There we go. All right, so this comes to us from August of 2021, and Citi apparently really loved posting their promotional videos in Augusts of years because most of these come from August of subsequent years. But this is August of 2021, and this one is entitled, if I can get to it here, let's see, Citi in the Lens of Diversity and Inclusion. Why join Citi in the lens of diversity and inclusion? So this is a 2-minute promotional video from Citi telling us why we should work for them through the lens of diversity and inclusion. Okay, so if I got this all set up correctly, you should be hearing this now.
I just love being me.
You love being you. Well, I have struggled at times with loving being me. So I envy you.
And the uniqueness that comes with it.
You love being you and the uniqueness that comes with it. I mean, I think you're setting the bar a little low. Does everybody hear that okay? Let me know in the chat. Oh, real quick here. Grizilla, thanks, Scribelight. I'm slowly getting over the days over the past couple of months. It's been hard, but I'm getting better. Well, for whatever it's worth, you obviously have my condolences. I hope that whatever help I or the audience have been in trying to alleviate the stress of it all has been of use. And take care of yourself first and foremost, and those around you. And I'm hoping that this year at least will be a calmer year, a healing year, if nothing else. So thanks for showing up, Griselle. I hope you're doing okay. Everybody hear that okay? Yes, you hear it. Audio level is fine. All right, so let's continue on with our I love myself because I'm so unique.
I do it again.
Wait. What, were you laughing? Wait a sec. Hold on. Let's try that again.
Uniqueness that comes with it. I do it again.
What? That was a blooper? Okay. Citi. Why Citi? Diversity and inclusion. Why Citi? And here's the other thing that I have to wonder as we watch these things. How many of the individuals profiled in these videos we're about to see are on the way to losing their jobs? I don't know, but I have to wonder.
My name is Cynthia Kike Ajebi.
My name is Munir Nanji.
My name is Ida Chen. I'm Beatrice.
My name is Peter Williams.
I've had quite a career of a lifetime so far at Citi.
Have you? What kind of career?
It's been 9 roles over the last 16 years.
9 roles over 16 years. Okay, so you've moved your way up the ladder. Okay, that sounds good.
And in these experiences, I've worked across different businesses, managed different kinds of teams, different cultures, and worked in different organizational setups.
Whoa. Grisella. Holy cow, man. What? Grisella, thank you. To one of my best friends, keep up the Grisella. I honestly don't know what to say. For those of you who haven't been around as long as some, Grisella has been a viewer and a booster of not only my channel, but certainly of Ranting Monkey and Satsu 2 Cents and back in the day, Some Dumb American and all. Grisella is a comic book artist. If you haven't seen his work, I definitely recommend that you take a look at it on Twitter and things. He's got a lot of projects he's been working on over the years. And in at least 3 instances, he made custom comic book pages for both Ranting Monkey, Satsu 2 Cents, and myself. Comic book cover. If I've got that, hold on. Let me see if I can find that. If I can find that real quick, I want to show that off. I think I know where it is on my desktop. Give me a moment here. And also made a Lords of the Night comic book at one point. Just as a fan, I can't. I look at some of the time I put into just making thumbnails for my shows or my streams and things, and sometimes I take a couple hours to figure it out, or the editing process of making a video or whatever, and then I look at something like that and it just blows me away. And I don't know what to say about the amount of effort he put in just for fun, just as a goof for the most part. Where did that go? Oh my gosh. Here it is. Hold on. Let me put this up on the screen. Because let me get that. Thank you, Grisella. I don't know what to say. That is beyond generous of you, especially all things considered. So he did a comic book cover. Up in the corner there, you can see it's me, Satsu 2 Cents, and Ranting Monkey. And this is my comic book, Scribelight. And it's me making fun of Mr. Gray, as in 50 Shades of Grey, because Grisella has a knowledge of scribe lore. With Mr. Gray saying, "I am the Dom here," and he's on my moon base. And he says, "Yes, you are a Dom ass. Har, har, har." Grisella, first off, again, thank you. That's ridiculously generous. And as well, thank you so much for your support and your patronage over the years. And like I say, everybody, if you haven't seen Grisella's work, you should definitely check out. Grisella, put your put your Twitter address. I don't have it handy on me. Put your Twitter address up in the chat. If people don't have it, they can follow you and take a look at everything else. So yeah, sorry. Given Grisella's recent history, I'm getting a bit emotional about that kind of generosity, all things considered. So thank you, Grisella. I will, as always, with the generosity you guys show me, I will do my best to pay that forward as best as I'm able. Sometimes I talk about it on Twitter. Oftentimes I keep it to myself, but rest assured, I will do my best to extend your generosity outward beyond just me. So thank you. Okay, before I get too caught up, let's back up a little bit. You were all very happy about working in Citi. Can you tell me about what diversity has to do with any of your jobs?
15 years.
And in these experiences, I've worked across different businesses, managed different kinds of teams, different cultures, and worked in different organizational setups.
You've managed different cultures. Okay, so you're going to talk to me about diversity of experience, diversity of thought. But that's not what we're talking about in reality, is it?
Some of the great things that happen from that are that I get to know the people that are working there, their stories and what they're passionate about. And then going forward, lifelong friendships can form so quickly.
I really love that Citi use technology to bring diversity and inclusion, not only internally for our employees, but also externally for our customers and communities.
Define diversity and inclusion. Working in several different departments, working across different areas of the business and so on, that's a diversity in your resume. That's not a diversity and inclusion initiative in a company, however. It's not the one that was advertised back in 2018 in Citi. I wonder if we'll get any more specific in these. Remember, this is from 2021, August of 2021.
So at Citi a year ago, I was nominated as a co-chair for Citi Women Singapore. And I must say very proudly, we made a big impact across things like maternity matters, mums at work, and significantly brought some high-profile women to share their career experiences.
So you're the chairman of Women at Citi in Singapore. Okay, well, you're a very good ally then, I guess.
The most important thing here at Citi that has made me feel included and engaged has been opportunities. And that has been throughout every stage of my career.
And you earned all those opportunities through your labor and dedication. Do you want to talk about D.E.I?
And even different life stages. And I've even had 2 kids while working at Citi, while having incredible support from my colleagues and from my managers.
Be you. Here you can speak up if you feel uncomfortable about anything.
Find the causes that you care about and find ways that you can contribute to those.
Causes? What kind of causes? What? I know it's only a 2-minute long video, but dancing around the realities of the situation.
Through volunteering, creating events, raising awareness.
Oh, are we talking about ERGs? Tell me we're talking about ERGs.
And sometimes it's really just about education. And that's why we invest in unconscious bias training.
Oh, unconscious bias training. Okay, Anything else?
In ally training.
Ally training. Why do I imagine a chair, a top hat, and a whip?
To help raise that organizational empathy.
Organizational empathy. Oh, right. Empathy. Is that a synonym for pity? Or animosity, depending on the makeup of the individual we're talking about? Organizational empathy. Oh, boy.
My team, as a result, ensures diversity is brought in the day-to-day decisions they take, or when it comes to recruitment, when it comes to promotions, and when it comes to ensuring that each member brings in diverse thought in the decisions they make day in, day out.
Diverse thoughts. Okay, well, how do you screen for diverse thoughts in your hiring and promotion practices? I'm going to back up a little bit. I'd love to know. I've asked that question off and on over the years, because when people say things like, "Oh, we appreciate diversity of thought," like, okay, well, could you walk me through the process of divining who has diversity of thought between a pool of applicants? I mean, do you put them through some kind of test? Do you have some kind of sit down chat meeting? What standards do you assess someone's thoughts and the quality thereof? I mean, I'm certain there's a way, if you're hiring a programmer, you put a problem up on a whiteboard or something and have them solve for that, or suggest how they would have resolved that problem or something like that. It's a very technical thing. But that's not what you mean, is it? That's not what you really mean. What denotes a diverse candidate for a job at Citi versus a non-diverse candidate? Describe for me a non-diverse candidate. Now, they might, if I were to ask that of somebody at Citi or anybody else, they might describe someone who doesn't have the skills and so on and so forth for the job. And I'd say, no, that's someone who lacks merit. I want to know what makes them not diverse. I'm not sure if that would be a trap in that kind of rhetoric, but I feel like it might be. Anyway.
That each member brings in diverse thought in the decisions we make day in, day out, making us a high-performance team and organization.
Until we lay off 20,000 people, spin off part of the company to lay off another 40,000 people. Yeah, we're very, very high performance. Very high performance. Okay, well, that was the first one. That was from August of 2021. Now, let's jump forward in time to August of 2022, because August is the month for posting videos at Citi. Now, I have to give a warning. These next two videos seem to comprise at least some of the same speakers. I haven't watched either one of them. They're both different lengths, and there might be some repetition. But the first one here is 8 minutes long, and the one after that is only 6 minutes long. I'm not sure if the shorter one is just a truncated version of this one. If it is, I'll end up skipping it. But regardless, that was August of 2021. This is August of 2022. And it's a bit more in-depth. We get a bit more information. So let's find this. Oh, wait. Zed the Snarky. Good morning. So what's this then? This is me gloating over the disaster that's taking place at Citibank, or Citi, in which I have no direct information to say, but I have at least direct information to know that they've been practicing some discriminatory hiring and promotion over the years, and they're having a major downturn in their fortunes. And I'm gloating. And here's the thing. I'm gloating because as a company, they have been discriminating against people on the basis, at least primarily, of their race since at least 2018. And blatantly so. They made no bones about it in 2018 when I looked at a video of theirs. Link to that is in the description below if you want to see that. And obviously, they have continued that through line since then. And any company that would so blatantly and savagely assess people on the basis of things that have nothing to do with their merit and talk about having to put people into positions of authority in their company, first and foremost on the basis of their aesthetic and not their merit, I feel sorry for the people that are losing their jobs, because no matter how you slice it, that sucks. But for the company in general, for the corporate overlords that decided that this was a good idea and that this was a moral thing to do, I have no sympathy, even though they probably all have golden parachutes and will not suffer a whit over this. All the same, this is me, Schadenfreude Sunday. At Citi, we are all responsible for fostering diversity, equity, and inclusion within our firm. Okay. Oh. Here are some of the remarkable people who take ownership of Citi's DEI efforts every single day. All right, I'm glad to meet them from 2 years ago. Okay.
For me, anywhere I go as a Black woman, being comfortable to be myself in any space is a privilege, and is something that I don't take very lightly.
You feeling comfortable in a space because of your skin and gender. That sounds like a self-esteem problem. And the operative word in self-esteem is self.
And I really do feel like I can be myself with my team members. They're just like very genuine, caring people. We're always supporting each other, like checking in on each other, making sure we're doing okay when things do get stressful.
Okay. And for those of you listening at home, we have a team group photograph of everybody very happy, very smiley. We have one person with a face mask. Remember, this is from August of 2022. So this is in the, I guess, the waning days of the worst of the pandemic. But not everybody's wearing a mask. Okay. And we have a Citi logo with the little umbrella curve at the top as a rainbow on a shirt. Okay.
I love Citi HR. Everyone is really willing to help you get where you need to go. To reflect Jane's messaging, we do work better together.
What?
I love how collaborative HR is. Whatever your role is, like, there's always just this natural inclination to do things together.
Why did you bring up your race and your gender at the top of this? Why was it important for you? And I know I'm asking rhetorically. Why was it important for you to spell those two elements of yourself out as being so important? And like I asked so many times in the past, what does either of those two elements of your makeup have to say about you as a person? I'm just curious.
After George Floyd's murder hit the
of course, George. You know, I again, I've said it before. I'm getting close to adding George Floyd as a wild card square or something on the bingo card for TEDx talks. Maybe I'm too late to the game at this point, but still.
News. I, like many other people that look like me, was feeling just a lot of intense emotions.
You were feeling a lot of intense emotions, okay. And now we have images of Black Lives Matter protests.
I had a manager that was caring and supportive, and she made sure to check in on me in a genuine way.
Because obviously someone who dies, who looks like you, mystic chords of memory make you susceptible to emotions over it? Okay.
Which I really appreciated. And so what had kind of worried me, okay, what if other people may be the only diverse person on the team? And
oh, well, thank you for clarifying that. You're the only quote unquote diverse person on the team. What if you were the only diverse person on the team? Who would have a problem with that, do you think?
The only diverse person on the team, and there's no one else on the team that can empathize with that experience.
Wait. Wait. So, and I don't know. I don't know what our speaker's history is. How many times have you been arrested by police and held down on suspicion of forgery or passing false currency? Wasn't that what George Floyd was initially approached about? He was passing like fake money. Counterfeit. That's the word I was looking for on a Sunday morning. Counterfeit. My brain hasn't started up yet. It still needs to warm up. So simply George Floyd being arrested and held down for resisting arrest, fighting with officers, being belligerent, and on suspicion of passing counterfeit money. You've had that experience, have you? Or do you just assume that anybody who passingly looks like you or George Floyd has had that experience? Is that how you operate in the world? I have so many questions to be answered.
Part of why we went with like an inclusion council was to make sure that everybody had that space, because I was lucky enough to have those people at Citi. Our first candid conversation was literally talking about inclusion, just point blank. Like,
okay, so George Floyd dies. Every Black person at Citi is suddenly emotionally damaged, and anybody who's not Black can't empathize with. Okay.
How do you make another person feel included?
How do you make another person feel included? Hey, here's your desk, here's your chair, here's your computer, here's your paycheck. Here's the job you're going to do. And every week we have a team meeting and we talk about what we're up to and everybody gets a turn. There you go. Now get to work.
That was one of the first conversations where we saw like that vulnerability, people talking about their experiences, being diverse and joining like an all-white team, or
being diverse and joining an all-white team. All right, well, I appreciate her clarifying terms through abstract examples. So a non-diverse person is white. Okay.
Or just, being first gen and coming to a company like Citi when no one in your family has ever had a job like this.
First gen. Okay, the terminology in my mind when I hear first gen, second gen, etc., I'm thinking Vampire the Masquerade. First gen would have been the immediate childer of Cain. Second gen would have been the antediluvians. Pardon me for my nerdery. That's just where my mind goes when somebody starts talking about first gen. First, never had a job like this before. What has that got to do with anything?
As soon as one person opened up, like the floodgates open, you could almost sense the shift in the room.
Representation matters. It's so easy.
No, representation actually does not matter unless you're racist and or sexist, depending on the circumstances. But okay.
Matters.
This is sorry. I pardon me. We have Emily Lynn, Director, Learning Advisor, Human Resources, Citi, she/her. These are the important things to know about Emily Lynn.
Matters. It's so easy for us to have stereotypical understandings of groups that are different from our own.
Groups that are different from our own. Okay, well, so far, I guess you've been grouping together and monolithing races because George Floyd and then people with that same experience and then diverse versus an all-white team, correct?
When it comes to racism, it's something that we grew up living with.
And we still do. And you're promoting at Citi.
Never talked about it. We were always kind of told, keep your head down, don't, rock the boat and just, work hard.
Yeah.
When these incidents first happen, and I don't know if this is all Asians, but it certainly was for me and a lot of my friends as well.
Attacks against Asian Americans. Yeah. What were the predominantly highest profile stories of that happening? Who were taking those actions more often than not? You want to talk about that part of it? Does that change your calculus about this at all? Anything?
We were almost shy to kind of talk about it because we're like, oh, we don't have it that bad. What actually inspired me was what I saw a lot of my Black colleagues doing, and I learned so much from them, including Ashley from my team, who took the initiative on starting the Thrive Network.
The Thrive Network? When I hear Thrive, I think Chris Watts and Shanann Watts. That's just where my brain goes now. All these trivias and references in my brain. This is how the connections are made. Okay, the Thrive Network in Citi.
For HR, really created those safe spaces for our Black colleagues to talk about their experiences.
Safe spaces for Black colleagues. So you had what? Rooms set aside specifically for Black employees? Did you have a sign up that said Blacks only, whites not allowed, by any chance?
To bring in allies into that conversation.
Right, allies as in not Black people.
That's what inspired myself and Alice Huang and Karen Tsai to then come together to say, hey, why don't we start a conversation for Asian colleagues?
Oh, well, if we're going to segregate portions of time and space off for one race of our employees, hey, let's have another segregationist ERG space for this type of employee, because obviously if you share a similar skin color or ethnicity, you obviously are the same, right? I mean, no reason to tell each other apart.
I'm in the business of authenticity.
You're in the business of authenticity. So what, you work for Antiques Roadshow?
The old school advice about leaving your sexual orientation or some element of your identity at the door.
Oh, wait. I think this lady becomes the featured speaker in some of the later videos I've got here. Okay, this is Erica Irish Brown, Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer and Global Head of Talent at Citi. Also, a she/her. All right, yeah. If the featured speaker in the last couple of videos I got, I believe are this of the same lady. So just a heads up. Well, what were you saying again?
Advice about leaving your sexual orientation or some element of your identity at the door. That's no longer acceptable.
This sounds very familiar. Have I looked at this lady before? That rhetoric sounds exceedingly familiar. Okay, so it is not acceptable for me to leave my sexuality at the door? Okay, well, then exactly what has Citi been doing to its employees each day under that rubric? I want to hear that one more time. Sorry, I just want to hear that one more time. Let me get back to her real quick. I want to hear that.
I'm in the business of authenticity. The old school advice about leaving your sexual orientation or some element of your identity at the door, that's no longer acceptable. So I tell everybody, bring your authentic selves to work. We're authentic professional selves here at Citi. And I think that that's really important. I think
So if I were to work at Citi, and I heard this from our speaker here, I'd be like, oh, it's not acceptable for me to leave my sexuality at the door. Okay. Thanks for that. Immediately the next day, I would start decorating my workspace with various leather items. You know, I won't go too deep into that. Those of you that know, you know. And what do I have to do to prove I'm being authentic every day? If it's not acceptable, if I decide to keep some things private or some things that are not for the workplace or some things that have nothing to do with my profession to myself, do you interrogate me over this? Do you ask me if I'm being authentic today? How does that work? It's not acceptable to leave your sexuality at the door. What?
my identity adds to the work. As a Black woman, as a mother of 3 Black boys.
Okay, Black woman, mother of 3 Black boys. Yes, what do these things mean as far as anything?
There are things that concern me every day.
There are things that concern all parents every day who care about their children. Skin color is not something special.
That certainly factor into my emotions, my leadership decisions.
Then maybe you need to separate your personal from your professional a bit more.
And even how I've dealt with situations most recently, as the topic of racial equity has been top of mind for many of us. I make sure that our managers and leaders understand what the experiences of our people of difference are going through, what impacts them.
The experiences of our people of difference. Now, I understand that this is her job. She's the Chief Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Officer, so this is kind of the fishbowl she operates in, but still, setting up division after division after division, right? This part of our workforce needs to be pitied. This part of our workforce needs to learn a lesson. And what divides these two groups effectively? Yeah.
And that they're able to lead inclusively.
I come from a very small town in Mexico, very conservative. I went through a period of my life figuring out that I was gay, and there was nobody else to relate to. Going into the workplace, the story kind of repeated itself. Not being able to see or find other LGBTQ plus professionals or people in like higher positions that me.
Why do you need to find people like you on a sexual basis at work? Are you looking for a date? What does it have to do with anything? You know, I'm getting the distinct impression that I may have looked at this video before. This feels very familiar. So if anybody in the chat, I apologize. If anybody in the chat's going like, wait a second, you looked at this thing 2 years ago or something, it's entirely possible now. I feel as though I've seen this before. This might be an accidental double up. If so, for those of you that have a more eidetic memory than I do, I apologize. But all the same, in for a penny, in for a pound, as they say.
Just kind of gave me the message that didn't exist. One of the
or here's a thought. Maybe they were all over the place, right? Maybe they were all over the place, but they, as so many other people do, decide to keep a separation between their personal life and their professional life. And disclosing to you what they do in the bedroom wasn't really high on their priority list, so that you could feel that you weren't alone. But now you need to know the personal, private, sexual attitudes of your coworkers, or else you don't feel uncomfortable. Or I should say that you don't feel uncomfortable. How exactly does that work? What does the sexual orientation inquisition look like at Citi, or has it looked like over the last several years?
The first things that I remember was the recruiter that hired me. This was back in 2018. She's like, "Oh, we have the Pride Parade coming up in June, and we're going to be marching, so we'd love to have you join us." Right?
Why would the recruiter say that to you? I mean, did you, of your own volition, disclose to the recruiter what your sexual orientation was? How could that? Why did that come up in the conversation? Was it just reflexive on the recruiter's part, just like, look how progressive we are, or were you singled out for some reason?
Right. And for me, that was like an aha moment of, okay, this is a place where I want to be, right? And then I came across the Citi Pride Network for Mexico Collaborate site.
The Citi Pride Network for Mexico Collaborate site. Okay, the audio on this is a little tinny because Zoom call. And yeah, now I'm almost entirely positive I've looked at this before.
The Citi Diversity site. And that's when I saw that they had a vision, like their principles, what the policies were.
Their principles. Yeah, what are their principles? Real quick in the chat, Shadow Claw, Scarlett, isn't it illegal to ask if you're gay during an interview? How many people you think ask that question? These are the questions I have all the time when it comes to things like this. Whenever they talk about diversity, and especially when they talk about things like elements that are not readily apparent, like a woman is a woman, a man is a man, white, black, Asian, and so on. Okay, there you go. But when it comes down to things like when they mention orientation in DEI, I always wonder, how does that conversation go? When you're either doing a poll of your workforce for the sake of some diversity initiative, or you're doing hiring and so on, and you highlight orientation as an element that you're looking to expand on in your workforce. Yeah, exactly. What does that conversation look like? How do you divine someone's orientation? If they're not literally wearing it on their sleeve with a rainbow band or something, what do you do? And not only is it an awkward thing to try to bring up just casually in the workplace, but yes, the legality of that. Of all the things that you could sort of like wave away as like, oh, I mean, I picked him because of his talent and his experience, not because of what he looks like. You can sort of like pretend you don't see that or whatever else, even if you're filling out some quotas or something. But orientation, the intangibles like that, like, yeah, I'm always curious. I've always been curious about that. And I'm more curious now that DEI and questions and doubts about it are becoming more mainstream, if such questions will become more prevalent amongst the populace as the months go on. But anyway, let's go back a little bit, because this guy, or at least the presentation, brought up their diversity page at Citi. At least this is as far back as 2022. Diversity at Citi. Research and experience both confirm that when a company embraces diversity, the most talented people are not just attracted to joining the company, but are also much more productive and motivated to stay. Maintaining a truly diverse environment has been proven to be a leading indicator of the quality of our culture, in addition to being an effective way of connecting to an equally diverse client base. Laying off 20,000 employees, worst quarter in 15 years. At Citi, our employees reflect the remarkable range of cultures and perspectives of our clients across the more than 160 countries and jurisdictions where we do business. A powerful advantage that combines global insights with deep local knowledge. You're not talking about locality. You're not talking about people on the ground. That's not what you mean. We all know it. You've been saying it. Just listen to your own employees speak on this video. We know it's BS. Come on.
What the policies were, what their stand was as far as like discrimination in the workplace. And that to me was just very reassuring. I was like, okay.
What's their policy on discrimination in the workplace? Well, apparently they love it. They absolutely love it. They practice it every day. They have different rooms and different spaces for different people based on what they look like. They hire on the basis of what you look like. They categorize people on the basis of what you look like. Yeah. And they're very inquisitive about the purity of your bedroom antics.
So if I were ever to face some type of discrimination for being myself, I know that the company will have my back.
Does being yourself mean trying to divine the sexual proclivities of your coworkers? Because that seemed to be an issue for you. It's like you couldn't tell whether or not someone you were talking to was gay or not. Or you assumed that they weren't because they weren't saying so right to your face.
Being a diverse employer of choice.
A diverse employer of choice
means that we're showing up as thought leaders in the diversity, equity, inclusion space.
Yes.
That we are equipping our managers to be inclusive leaders.
And most of them are getting laid off in the next 2 years. As they go from 13 layers of management down to 8.
That they're sharing credit for people's success, that they visibly support D.E.I at the firm, that they empower their team to make decisions, that they create an environment where diverse perspectives are not tolerated, but, valued.
Sure. Diverse perspectives. Who counts as diverse again?
And that people know that they can contribute without fear of retribution.
Right, except for the fact that diverse perspectives are placed on a pedestal and non-diverse perspectives are, just sort of something you have to put up with. That certain ideas carry more weight to them because of the appearance of the person saying them. That's what you're saying.
Empathetic leadership is one of the most important qualities that any of our leaders can have here at Citi. And that's something that Jane has shown and has spoken about at length.
Jane Fraser? Is that Jane Fraser, the CEO? The one that's had to report a $1.8 billion loss and 20,000 employees are being laid off?
My manager, I said something along the lines of, yeah, me and my boyfriend. He was like, oh, okay. And then we just went on with the conversation like nothing happened.
Oh, yeah, like it was absolutely irrelevant. You see, like I say, I'm almost certain that I've looked at this video before. If I knew what stream or whatever I looked at it previously, I'd be curious to know, am I having the exact same reactions now as I did back then? Am I saying anything new at this point? Has it all been just the same BS this whole time?
Those are the type of little details that I think made me feel like I could be myself at work.
What? Because you said me and my boyfriend and your manager didn't pay attention to it? Oh, well, is that all it takes? Just somebody to not care about your personal life? Well, I guess sign me up.
Our team includes experts with diverse, multidisciplinary backgrounds.
Oh, diverse, multidisciplinary. Okay, so now you're talking about merit. Now you're talking about skills. Oh, see, I was under the impression just a couple of minutes ago that diversity meant non-white.
Feminist studies, community development.
Feminist studies! Boy, oh boy. I love that feminist math. I love that feminist accounting, don't you? At a bank?
And big data, public policy, public health, economics, and even design activism.
Public health, feminism, design activism. Okay, public health has become this umbrella term over the last several years to mask a social justice initiative, or a social justice degree of some kind. They call it public health, and then they put all types of things underneath there, like racism, sexism, colonialism, and so on and so forth. So when I hear public health, I get a little suspicious. Feminism? Yeah, tell me about all the benefits that feminism brings to banking. And what was that last part? Sorry, let's back up a little bit. What was that again?
Data, public policy, public health, economics, and even design activism.
Right, design activism. When I think of design activism, I think of the lady who was designing prisons for social justice, for restorative justice. Right? Oh, we have to get rid of prisons. We have to instead have, open air healing huts, things like that. Holy cow, Faustonia. Thank you so much. Excuse me, that's very, very generous of you. At my job, I ask what the business case is for this insipid DEI ESG BS. One day I'll ask this of the wrong person. I've yet to hear a good argument why, quote, diversity is our strength, unquote. It's just said axiomatically, ooh, good word, by NPCs and HR. Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. They don't have to justify it beyond the fact that it is a necessary box to check on a company's prospectus and their publications and things in order to qualify for the financial benefits from ESG financial entities, as well as to tell anybody else that may hire your company as a vendor or want to work with your company or something else that you're in on the whole shebang. It's a merit badge, but it's a merit badge that has absolutely nothing beyond it except as a virtue signal. I mean, they have to do something in the company that qualifies as DEI, and there's all these buzzwords and things, and the consultants and the advocates and the executives that end up in these positions, they play along, they talk the game. I mean, we've listened to countless diversity consultants over the years, and it's all fluff. It doesn't mean anything. It is a merit badge without value, but it has to be there or else you're just not part of the team. So yeah, the only thing, like my sister had to go through this recently in her company where they did a DEI thing. And the element that she got assigned to, and we've heard this in other places too, is one of the new words they're trying to attach to DEI, and that's access or accessibility. And in the instance of my sister's company, accessibility meant, well, in the course of the lockdowns and people being so spread out now and everything, accessibility to be able to do your work remotely. And that was like, when she talked to me about this, I was like, well, of all the things in the whole DEI schema that your company is going through, that makes just basic utilitarian sense. Obviously, you want to be able to have your workers have access to do their work and get it to the company and filing their reports or whatever else. So if you're focused on that, this is what she was assigned to, or the part of the whole setup that she was volunteering for. That's probably the safest place to be because that actually makes some sense. Everything else is going to start evaluating people on the basis of what they are, not on their ability to get access to doing their work. And none of that even seemed relevant to the whole DEI thing in the first place. It almost felt like something that was tacked on like, well, there are some essentials here beyond the aesthetic. But yeah, I have been very fortunate in that the company I work for has never, ever had to go through anything like this and has not even attempted to implement anything like it. There were hints of such things happening at the company I worked for prior, but that was so far back before all this madness really started, back in, let's say, 2009, 2010, when it really started to start cooking, that I missed it, thankfully. But yeah, if you ever talk to anybody in a company about DEI and you show any doubt whatsoever, just ask this question and try to be, and as I said, just try to be as diplomatic as you can. What does a non-diverse candidate look like? Or describe to me a non-diverse candidate. To leave the look part about there, that's an easy out. Describe a non-diverse candidate. I'd love to know what answers anybody gets from a DEI professional, whether they make sense or not. That's something I've always wanted to ask a really dyed-in-the-wool DEI professional. Thank you, Faustonia.
And this diversity helps us explore complex problems in new and novel ways.
Yes, I'm sure there's some novel ways to explore accounting through a feminist lens. Would you care to give us an example?
Collectively, our team brings a wealth of knowledge and lived experiences.
Feminist, activist designing, and public health experience to banking?
And we are using our expertise to embed racial equity in the digital product development lifecycle. How can we empower Citi product teams to center the needs, perspectives, and experiences of Black and Latinx communities in the design, development, and deployment of Citi products and services?
I don't know. Give me a specific element that was implemented that only applies to and is beneficial for Black people when it comes to cities, products, and services. I would love to know something that was geared specifically towards one racial demographic as being unique to a demographic based on skin color. I'd love to know what that is.
I'm such a huge subscriber of, the quote, be the change you want to see in the world.
Be the change you want to see in the world. Wow. So you want to see people assessed and categorized by their skin color? Okay.
There's no one person in the world who can change everything.
Well, yes, there is. Chuck Norris.
But really start to look at what is the sphere in front of you? What is kind of that ripple effect that you as one person can have?
We're trying to build in all of our leaders to be able to solicit feedback and engage so that, we're all getting better and we create an environment of trust.
An environment of trust. You're not allowed to leave your sexuality at the door. I don't know. Do I trust an environment with that kind of mentality? What?
So you should use your voice. That's how, there's an environment where that leads to innovation.
Oh, yeah, innovation, leading up to $1.8 billion in losses and 20,000 layoffs, onwards to 40 more as you spin off part of your company that's failing. Part of the company that is, as far as I recall from the article, primarily Latinx in focus.
You create a healthy discourse. You have better outcomes, better decisions that are made, and you're really creating and innovating at that point.
Yeah, and look at your returns over the last 10 years or so. Yeah, it's great. All right, though, this is from August of 2022. Yeah, so what were Citi's fortunes between 2022 and 2024? Oh, yeah, that's right. Dismal.
As it relates to some of the social injustices that are out there.
Oh, Mark Mason, Chief Financial Officer. I think he was brought up in the article, wasn't he? I believe so. I recognize that name. Sorry, what were you saying?
Innovating at that point.
As it relates to some of the social injustices that are out there, it's the time to become educated. And I do think education in the history of a lot of these things is critically important.
Okay, and how has that education served Citi's bottom line since 2022?
And to take action.
Oh, yeah.
I think if everyone kind of focuses on those things, somehow, some way, we'll be a better company, a better country, a better world.
Oh, maybe you guys should have focused more on banking over the last 2 or 3 years. As a financial institution, I don't know. I wonder how much money Citi has spent since at least 2018, when I first looked at them, on their DEI program. I wonder how much money they have just flushed down the tubes alone on DEI. Not to mention how much money has been lost as a result of all those efforts doing nothing to increase the company's bottom line, right? The collateral effect of it. But just what was the DEI budget year over year at Citi since at least 2018? I'd be curious to know. And that's the end of that one. Okay. Now, the next one, it might be, again, a truncated version of this one because it seems to feature the same speakers in the same rooms and the same Zoom calls. So if we start hearing the same stuff over and over again, I'm going to skip this one. So just as a heads up. Yes, at Citi, we're all responsible for fostering diversity, equity, and inclusion within our firm. Here are some of the remarkable people who take, yes, Is it the same thing? This might be just the same thing.
For me, anywhere I go as a Black woman,
yes,
being comfortable to be myself.
Yeah, this is, let's see. Is there anybody on here that we didn't see before? Yeah, same fish. Yeah, see that, saw that. Saw her. Okay, yeah, this is just a repeat, but it's 2 minutes shorter, so they must have cut out a bunch of stuff. Okay, So let's just skip that one. I'm not going to worry about that one. Okay, this one, now we get into more recent times. This one comes to us from March of 2023. So this is just a few months ago. Well, actually, it's almost a year ago now. Gosh, time flies. Time flies. Advocatus brings up a good point, possibly. They cut out the white guy. Yeah, well, it's possible. Not looking at the whole thing, they may have. But okay, let's take a look at March of 2023. A 2-minute, 45-second promotional video from Citibank. Let's see what they were thinking as of almost a year ago now. At Citi, we embrace individuality in a diverse and thriving community. Individuality. Wow, because I mean, prior to this, you're all talking about, collective groups and things and stuff. I wonder, was there anything going on in spring, early summer of 2023 in regards to diversity? I wonder, was there something like an oncoming affirmative action decision that might be coming down the pike? Highly expected at the time to be an utter decimation of affirmative action, and the arguments for diversity as a justification for overriding the 14th Amendment and Title VI in the case of colleges and potentially Title VII in the case of businesses. Gosh, I might be jumping the gun. I might be just, I'm talking nonsense. What am I talking about? Individuality. Yeah, tell us about individuality. There is a place for me at Citi. Oh, okay. What does an inclusive culture mean? I don't know. How does diversity inform the company in the first place? Are you going to cover inclusivity?
多元包容的企业文化让每个人感受到自我价值。
Okay, I'll read the subtitles. An inclusive culture is where everyone feels valued. Valued on what basis?
एक सर्वसमावेशी संस्कृति वही है जिसमें सभी लोग एक दल की तरह काम करते हुए.
An inclusive culture is where everyone works as a team for meaningful results. Okay.
सार्थक परिणाम प्राप्त करते हैं.
多元且具包容性的文化是每个人身在其中都能自在地展现不同之处。
An inclusive culture is where everyone feels safe to demonstrate their differences. What kind of differences?
Budaya inklusif ialah di mana suara semua orang didengar dan dihormati.
An inclusive culture is where we get to share our unique voices and perspective. What makes my voice unique? Is there anything, I don't know, more sort of surface level that we have to take in consideration, or are we just letting that go by the wayside now in March of 2023?
And the inclusive culture is where everyone is treated equally.
Oh, is that what an inclusive culture is at Citi? Gosh, because previously employees at Citi were talking about divisions along racial and orientation lines specifically. Do you think equally is there? Is there a straight pride parade by any chance that Citi funds or participates in? Just asking.
Sa kulturang inklusibo, nagbibigay suporta ang mga pinunong galing
an inclusive culture is where our leaders come from diverse backgrounds
sa iba't ibang pinagmulan upang maitagumpay
and champion you to pursue your own version of success. Well, what if my version of success is just staying home and doing nothing while pulling a paycheck? Does that work for you? It worked for me.
Buyod mo ang tagumpay na minimiti mo.
Here we go. How is diversity, equity, and inclusion brought to life at Citi? Oh boy.
People often think that diversity and inclusion is only about gender, race, and ethnicity.
Now, why would anyone think that? Oh my gosh, boy, I have been buffaloed, obviously. Over the last 7 years, why would I think that diversity, equity, and inclusion is only about race, gender, and ethnicity? Because she's right, though. She's absolutely right. It's also about orientation. She left out one important component. It's really not just about those things. Well, here's the thing. I hate to tell you this. At any point in your process of DEI, if those things, race, gender, and ethnicity, are considerations for someone's opportunities at your company, that's wherein the problem lay. Okay? Even if it's not just about those, the fact that they're included at all is tempting fate with Title VII and the 14th Amendment. I don't know what to tell you about that. It's inherent to DEI. But okay, it's not only about gender, race, and ethnicity. What other elements are you tacking on to try to insulate your culpability?
One of the significant steps that Citi has taken is to create a platform to discuss disability under the same umbrella of diversity.
Discuss disability in what way? Discuss disability? Okay.
This not only encourages others to disclose any disabilities that could impact their day-to-day at work, but also nurtures a safe and inclusive environment.
Okay, well, if you're keeping secrets from your employer that are impacting your work performance, you're not doing yourself any favors there, obviously. What has that got to do with DEI? I mean, there are so many possible scenarios to the idea of keeping secret from my employers a disability. And disability can take any number of forms: a physical disability, a mental disability, anything. So I don't know. For those of you in the chat that have more experience with these kind of things than I do, if I possessed a disability of a kind that was negatively or potentially could negatively impact my performance at work, or potentially affect others around me, and I did not disclose that to my employer, and then that disability made itself known at some point, who's at fault? What happens in a situation like that? Right? And not in a situation where, like, the company said, you're not allowed to tell us you have a disability, which I think would probably violate several laws in the first place. I'm not quite sure what this has to do with anything, honestly.
Engaging in advocacy and practices that support one another equips everyone with confidence to be who they truly are at work.
Be who they truly are at work. I don't want to be who I truly am at work. I want to go to work, do my job, come home. I want to keep my life, my personal life, my professional life as separate as possible. So I know where one ends and the other begins each day. And honestly, most of my quote unquote real life is A, irrelevant to my work, and B, none of anybody else's business at work. So can I just do that at Citi and not have to be my quote unquote full self?
It has been very important to me that my colleagues value my strengths and see my disability as an asset instead of a liability.
See your disability as an asset. Okay, well, I doubt I'll get an answer to this, but I have to ask then, since you're so open about it, I guess. What is your disability? And how is it an asset? I'm not saying she isn't possessing of a disability. I'm not saying that her disability couldn't be seen as an asset depending on the circumstances, but what and how?
I have been supported by Citi for more than 20 years across different roles, in businesses, segments, and markets. At Citi, I can count on visibility and transparency and respect.
Visibility and transparency and respect. For what? I know we're not going to get an answer. These are all very high-minded and abstract thoughts. What does any of this have to do with DEI? And how has this been a benefit to you personally?
And that helps me bring my best self to work.
At Citi, we're encouraged to pursue our interests through clubs and committees that focus on different areas outside of our business as usual tasks.
So ERGs or other company-associated businesses or organizations and things. So you're encouraged to take part in these things. Do you have to represent the company at these things? Are you extending your work hours into your personal affairs by any chance through this?
It feels good to know that the employees' personal interests are considered by the organization.
Well, what if my personal interest is painting Warhammer 40K figurines? Is Citibank going to, support me in that endeavor in my free time? Are they going to buy me the paints? Are they going to, organize a Citi-sponsored Warhammer 40K tournament? That'd be pretty cool. What are you talking about?
Equality and fairness in the workplace had nothing to do with gender or sexuality.
Wait. No, we just had your head of HR tell us that you're not allowed to leave your sexuality at the door. You have a pride flag up in the background. What? We just had another employee tell us that he felt uncomfortable not knowing the sexual orientation of his coworkers and managers, that he had to know these things for him to feel comfortable at work. So let's back up. You want to say that part again? Hold on.
Equality and fairness in the workplace had nothing to do with gender or sexuality.
Horse hockey.
Therefore, we believe that no member of staff should be treated any differently for one another.
Horse hockey. Why do you have a pride flag up on the wall? You are extolling the virtues of a sexual orientation or a grouping of sexual orientations. Not be treated differently from one another? You're kidding me, right? You're standing right next to a declaration of favoritism. Are you kidding me?
I feel empowered to voice my opinions.
Do you, Dan? Do you? Because I hate to say this, Dan, you're the enemy. I don't even need to know anything else about you. I can see it from everything they've said previous. You are the enemy.
As long as they are substantiated and not infringing upon our diverse and inclusive culture.
Wait. Say that again. Say that again. Hold on.
Another. I feel empowered to voice my opinions.
You feel empowered to voice your opinions.
As long as they are substantiated.
As long as they are substantiated. So, every time you come up with an opinion to speak, you have to what? Have a PowerPoint presentation backing yourself up?
And not infringing upon our diverse and inclusive culture.
Wait. So you, as an individual, have an opinion, and you can voice it as long as you back it up with something and doesn't infringe upon our diverse. What does that mean? I would love to know an example of a personal opinion or a professional opinion or something, and what the process is to both say it, substantiate it, and avoid infringing on the culture. What? I don't even know. Don't even know. But that's the end of that one.
At Citi, we celebrate differences.
We believe that each and every individual
has something unique to bring to the table.
Do you? You don't really talk about individuality here or in the previous videos.
That everyone can belong in banking. No.
In banking? Oh, is that the first time we've heard about banking in any of these videos?
No matter who you are.
There is strength in diversity and power in inclusivity.
Yeah, power.
Empowered
to be your most authentic self at Citi.
Yes, my most authentic self. Join our diverse team. All right. Well, we have 2 very, very short videos left. So that was from March of 2023. This one comes to us from, let me get this right here. August of 2023. We're back to August again. This one is 44 seconds long, and I have a second one that is 38 seconds long. And then we will be done. And I believe these 2 videos feature our "you can't leave your sexuality at the door anymore" lady. So let's wrap things up with that, and then I'll get to some comments from you guys, and then we will close up shop for the Sunday. What does it mean to be an inclusive leader?
I think that an inclusive leader is somebody that attracts, develops, and promotes diverse talent from around the globe.
In 44 seconds, are you going to tell us what diverse means?
They're a leader that leads with empathy.
Leads with empathy.
That provides stretch opportunities.
Stretch opportunities.
Makes it safe to take a risk on the team, that shares credit with the team. And most importantly,
yes,
is somebody that can build trust with their team.
Oh, so you're talking about leadership. What's special about quote unquote inclusive leadership? What distinguishes inclusive leadership from just good leadership?
So that they can have the honest dialogue, give and receive feedback, and give everybody the opportunity to respond to that feedback.
Leadership, teamwork.
So that the team is as high performing as possible.
Okay, well that had nothing to do with inclusion or diversity, equity, or otherwise. Okay, well that's her first attempt. Let's take a look at whatever this secondary one is. 38 seconds. Will we survive? What are the top 3 skills that make a good leader? Okay, from a city perspective, do tell.
So a good leader brings out the best in others.
A good leader brings out the best in others. Not necessarily, but okay.
A good leader knows their people.
Not necessarily. Do you think General Patton knew each and every one of his soldiers? On like a personal level? But okay, this is your... How personal should a leader get when it comes to their subordinates at Citi? I mean, you've already said they can't leave their sexuality at the door, so at least something is already known or inquired about, I suppose.
Knows what motivates them, knows their strengths and weaknesses.
They
give feedback on how to develop their weaknesses. But
develop my weaknesses? Interesting way of putting it.
More importantly, how to leverage their strengths. And builds trust with their team. When there's trust within the team, then there's the ability to take risks, to propose new and fresh ideas, and ultimately to innovate and create.
Create a $1.8 billion loss and 20,000 layoffs.
Better outcomes for the firm.
Yeah, better outcomes for the firm. Okay. Wow, that had absolutely nothing to do with DEI, and yeah, wow, she really showed off what she's getting her paycheck for. All right, well, there you go, guys. A little retrospective from 2022 up through 2023, promotional videos on diversity, equity, and inclusion from Citi, whose innovation and outcomes and everything else, I'm sure, has been well served by their management philosophy, hiring philosophy, and internal philosophy about what's important at a banking organization. So there you go. Let's see. Go into the chat real quick. Ken Lee says, it's yoga time. Downward dog you go, Ken. Have a good time. Let's see. Who else? You're ridiculous lunatic. I'm still never doing business with Citibank. I don't care how many of these asshats they fire. I've never had a Citibank account. As far as I know, I've never had anything to do with them in the first place. And not because I had some objection to them on the basis of this stuff, just it never did. You know, I have an account at the bank, the same bank, franchise, whatever, that my mother worked for when I was a child, and a couple other things. But that's, I'm very, very old school in that way. I'm sure there's plenty of DEI going on at every bank, including my own. But let's see. Meh. He just didn't see Russians as individuals or cared to learn their names. Oh, Patton probably did. That's probably true. He might have known the people immediately to him, but he was commanding legions of people and everything else. So let's see. Who else here? SWD Ford. A good leader should be kissing hands and shaking babies. Yes. That's what a good leader does. Kissing hands, shaking babies. At the same time, stealing their lollipops. If you know what reference that line was from, you know your scribe lore. Anal in, I must reveal my sexuality at work. Yes, you must. You can't leave it at the door. As she told us, you have to, every day you walk through the door, you have to reveal your sexuality. What does that look like? I'm just thinking of all of, if that is the philosophy that they're willing to put out into the public sphere in a promotional video, I can only imagine what kind of stuff happened at the offices where that philosophy was pushed outside the view of the public. It really is something else. Shadowclaw, Scribe, these people are priceless. I bet they have surprised Pikachu faces. Oh, no, they have a price. It's a $1.8 billion loss and a downturn in closing of their branches over the last year or two. Yeah, they have a price, and the stock went up 1% on the announcement of laying off 20,000 people. So, do some basic division. You can figure out what the price is of each of one of these people. It's nuts. Luna again, a good leader will always be willing to do what he asks others to do. He must be willing to stay later than his subordinates and start earlier. Thirdly, he must be fair to his people. Yes. There's also a couple other things. The basics of leadership: authority plus initiative. You take those two things as far as the most bare bones baseboard elements of a good leader, regardless of the situation, whether it's an emergency or it's long term. It's authority plus initiative. I always think of I think it was the Northridge earthquake or whatever back in the 90s or whatever. It was the one where you had the highway collapse on top of one another, and you just had random citizens in LA having to come together to try to rescue people trapped in their cars or underneath the rubble or whatever else. And instantaneously, hierarchies formed, leaders rose to the top, not because they were there in an official capacity, but because they took the initiative and they had a certain measure of authority in trying to get something done. Right? When push comes to shove, people find a way to solve problems more often than not. And not necessarily because there was any initial structure, but because just natural leadership skills and abilities come to the forefront when they are needed. Some people can learn these things. Some people have them innately. What does that have to do with DEI? Nothing. Anyway, let's see. My car, Scribe Light, DEI totally works. Just ask HP. Oh man. Well, didn't I just do a video a few months ago on HP? I was looking for some Fortune 100 company and their diversity goals to see whether or not they used anything that could be considered as a quota. Now, there's a whole story behind that. And HP I've done a couple of videos on over the years. And boy, oh boy, they have absolutely no hesitation to tell you exactly how they assess their workforce. But anyway, everybody, I'm going to call it here because apparently my voice is leaving me. And we're at the bottom of the second hour, which makes us an hour and a half in. And that's usually where I like to call these things. Programming note, first and foremost, tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Midnight's Edge After Dark channel, I'll be appearing there with Tom Connors and Toxic Man Flu and Gary Ambrosia and Clobberin' Time. And I think Brian from 70s Rock Fan is going to be there, and probably Six. Anyway, it'll be the whole gang, and tonight's subject is one that I picked, or I came up with, I should say. It is the top 5 list of movies that never got a sequel but deserved one. And so we'll be each going over our own top 5 lists of movies that never got a sequel but deserved one. Hope to see you there. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on Midnight's Edge After Dark. As soon as I have a link for that, I will share it out on Twitter or X, where you can find me at scribe_light. In addition, you can also find me and most everybody else on the Discord server. I put a link to the Discord server in the chat. If you'd like to join the Discord server, well, it's pretty easy to do. All you have to do is click on that link. You'll find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. And in addition to saying hello, you have to say the secret word. The secret word will tell me and my moderators that you actually watched this stream and have thus earned the right, the privilege, the entitlement to join the Discord server. And today's secret word is 20,000. Yes, just say hello, 20,000, and I'll know, my moderators will know, that you watched the stream. And you can join the Discord server. In addition to that, as always, on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, you can find me here for TED Excellence, where I take a look at off-brand TED Talks for education and entertainment. I call it a constant journey into headaches. And as always, there may be occasional ambush streams as subjects or situations occur that strike my interest, and I'll let you know when those happen as well on Twitter and the Discord server. But with that, everybody, thank you guys so much for joining me on this bitterly cold Sunday morning. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very little to do. Everybody who donated, holy cow. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate your generosity. But as well, anybody who donated to the GoFundMe's at the top of the chat box, thank you guys so much for your generosity there as well. And again, if you can't donate there, please do share those out on social media. Nobody Not Me got the reference. Hunt for Red October. Yes. When I'm not kissing babies, I'm stealing their lollipops. That came from Jeffrey Van Pelt, the head of National Security Advisor, I think, something like that. Holy cow. Alan Thyler at the 11th hour, the Bravo Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox.
Wowie, wow, wow.
And there's a Kiever Dam Dogcat Fox. Thank you so much, Alan. Again, appreciate it. Everybody, again, thank you for joining me. Hope you all are warm where you are or getting warm. Not as warm as what's going on in Iceland. That's a bit too warm. Just, yeah, stay away from the lava vents over up in Iceland. Otherwise, everyone, hope you're having a good rest of your Sunday and weekend. If you have the day off tomorrow for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, enjoy your day off. If you don't, my thoughts are with you at the workplace, but not about your orientation. And I hope you're all safe and well. If you are not well, please get well soon, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.